In this session, we're going to discuss the setting of unloaders, pressure unloaders on the pumps. Your unloader is also your safety valve. What it's doing is creating a resistance by spring tension, and it's forcing the water to go toward the nozzle and out the nozzle. The nozzle is what builds your pressure on a pressure washer. All the pump does is simply move the water. To adjust pressure, you crank this in a clockwise direction, which would increase the spring tension. You always need to use a pressure gauge when you're setting an unloader for the first time, so you know where you're at. The ideal place to set the pressure is on the head. All pumps are rated at head pressure. Down here is called line pressure. You can set at line pressure if you know the differential between the head pressure and your line pressure. Once you have that number, and that would be supplied by Pace, you'd be able to quick couple a pressure gauge in right in this location and set to that pressure. i.e. if this is a 4,000 psi pressure washer, say your pressure drop is 500 psi, you would set this at 3,500 psi, which would give you 4,000 psi then on the head. This is how to set the pressure unloader on Vortex's prosumer unit. Again, you're going to mount the pressure gauge downstream. Vortex will give you the proper pressure settings for this unit. The unloader is located directly in the center of the head. In order to set this unloader correctly, what you're going to first do is to take the black handle, turn it clockwise until it totally bottoms out. Then you'll remove the top plastic cover, and down inside is a lock nut and an adjusting screw. The lock nut is a 10 millimeter. You can simply use a 10 millimeter wrench to loosen the nut. Once the nut is loosened, you'll utilize the 3 millimeter Allen wrench to do the adjustment. You'll start the unit, turn clockwise to increase your pressure, turn counterclockwise to decrease your pressure. Once the desired pressure is achieved, you'll lock the nut back down, replace the cap, and the unit will be ready to go. The user of the pressure washer, if he wants to decrease his pressure, he can simply turn this black knob counterclockwise, which will lower the pressure, and he can go back to high pressure by turning it clockwise without overpressurizing the system. We were talking about adjusting the unloader and increasing the spring tension to have your pressure go higher or force more water out the nozzle. There are limitations on that, as I mentioned, about creating a high pressure spike by running out of the nozzle to where no more pressure is climbing, but you keep putting spring tension on. The spike that I talked about coming back can be extremely detrimental. This is a case here of a pump that has been overpressurized by this being adjusted to too tight of a spring tension. You can see here that the valve caps are extruded out of the head, and you can even see how they come out. The threads have actually been ripped off of the caps by the head expanding and the valve cap raking itself thread to thread and taking the crest of the threads off. This happened across the entire bottom of this pump, and this can be extremely dangerous because this could become a flying projectile. So be very careful on how you're adjusting these. They need to be done with a pressure gauge. Pressure needs to be dropped by changing to a larger nozzle.